Okay, my screen is visible.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Hi all, welcome to the VOLTHA TST, October 29. So we'll go over, I have just copy pasted what was there from the previous meeting, and also I have added a few. Okay, anything from Jan on the work items, on the pipelines, on the test suits, on the VPN?
Yeah, so do you want me to present again and go through all the different things, or how would you like to do that?
Anything is fine. Yeah.
Okay, then I think I can share my screen, and I can. And I hope there will be no internet issues today. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
You need to stop sharing. I can't share otherwise.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. This one. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think the thing in regards to the VPN and the connectivity that was outstanding last time was this one here, where CI/CD tools use this AWS connectivity IPsec tunnels. So Eric and I did some debugging here and figured out the issue. So the tunnel is stable now, and it's possible to use that from the pipelines. So we did a bunch of testing, and this is just one of the pipelines on Jenkins that is now targeting a new Jenkins worker within the lab. And it gets to the point where it clones all of the code and all of those things, so that can be seen inside of the lab. And then it fails, obviously, by installing VOLTHA, because there is currently no Kubernetes cluster where it could install VOLTHA on. But the connectivity itself is stable enough to run the pipelines and then monitored, obviously. Yeah, monitoring, maybe I can quickly show that. So this is... sorry for all of these errors on the side. That was because I was just working in the lab before. Whatever, we'll leave it here. There is some monitoring set up specifically inside of the lab where we, for example, monitor the Jenkins server through the IPsec tunnel. There's a bunch of external monitoring, for example, for the charts of OpenCore that we need to download the Helm charts. And then there's extensive internal monitoring for all of the pieces like the OLTs, the PDUs, switches, all of those things. I'll not dive into detail here because there's some IP addresses and stuff in there that we might not want to share in a video with everybody. So from our side, that was the outstanding point for those 3 milestones. So I set all of them in the wiki to done last week. And yeah, if there is any outstanding thing, please let me know. Is there anything that anybody wants to bring up here outstanding for these milestones?
Yeah, Jan. Actually, we need to check the documentation that you prepared previously. This is documentation side. It's on us to check it. But the other things mostly, you need to take us through a kind of, I don't know, demo or something, because we don't have access to AWS or the lab, etc. So we don't know, if these things are done or not. Some demo-like things that, like you showed a few minutes ago, going through this, for example, for milestone 131, show that the log in the ONOS and show that it is working, its configuration is okay, etc. I mean, if you take us through this kind of things, so we can verify that it's all done.
Yeah.
If there is some information that we need to keep, not showing the videos, etc., we can do also a closed session by TSD only.
Okay. okay, then let's see if we can go through that here quickly without sharing too much information that is security critical. So for this milestone, is there anything that you would need to see in addition to what I just showed for the pipelines and the worker? I can show you like the worker running inside of the lab. I can start another pipeline that shows that the repos are cloned and that drop is triggered by Jenkins. Is that of interest or?
Yeah, I'm checking the acceptance criteria in the documentation, the
Yeah.
state of work. So it's saying that connectivity configuration, network connectivity between the lab and AWS infrastructure is established. So how do you show that it is established? So I think you showed it. So necessary
Yeah.
network configuration, including IP setting, VPNs, or direct connects are implemented. So you said that the VPNs is okay working, but how can you show this to us? What's
I mean,
the
it's the baseline, right? So I mean, this is the baseline for the connection between the lab and the AWS. So the worker that I'm using to run this here is running inside of the lab. Let me quickly see if I can get that up here on Jenkins without showing stuff. I think this should be fine. So if I run this, there's this new worker which I created inside of the lab. So this is it's a virtual machine inside of the lab, so behind the gateway. This worker is this worker that I'm targeting is build node here. And then I can press build, and then it starts this whole thing. I can bring up this quickly. Can make it a bit bigger. So I can go to this worker, can become Jenkins, and then I can go into the workspace, which is the one that this pipeline is using. And then we should see that this thing is the time right now, at least like UTC. This is the result of the clone VOLTHA system tests and clone VOLTHA Helm charts and stuff like that. So this has just been created by me triggering the pipeline. This is basically the connectivity between those two things. There is not much more that the pipeline can do at the moment because the next steps would be like talking to Kubernetes, and there is no Kubernetes.
Okay, that's okay for me. Any other questions from other members for this specific milestone?
Yeah, so we have the documentation for the topology and also the VPN configurations somewhere in a document.
Yeah, there's this wiki. There's like a bunch of different pages there which document the gateway configuration. There's an overview of a network diagram, which will obviously be extended while we add more pieces here and there. There is an additional diagram which I will show later, going more into detail in the connectivity inside. But basically within this milestone here, this is the connectivity between the gateway and the AWS endpoint, right? So it's a tunnel one-to-one.
Okay.
But there's documentation about all the different IP addresses, the BGP sessions. I went through that last time. You should have access. I think Eric wanted to grant access to everybody that did not have yet access, but it should be in this Confluence.
Sure. I'll check. I was not that last time. I missed it.
Sure.
I'll check.
No worries. Sure. Maybe I can open it. No, this is something else. Yeah, I need to see where that is actually. Somewhere, probably. It's the official wiki that's where also I think the meeting notes are hosted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So anything else for this one? Okay, then maybe this one. So
Yes.
this thing here is about the DNS, DHCP, and NTP configuration, right? I can show you the mask side. I would like to not necessarily dive too deep into the firewall because there's a lot of configuration in there that we might not necessarily want to share with the broad public. If anybody is interested in specific details about the firewall configuration that does the actual nutting to the inside, we can set up a session and then talk about that, but maybe it's not perfect for this one. This is largely around the internal DNS and DHCP, so that all this, the OLTs, all of the servers that we use to deploy Kubernetes on, and all the infrastructure pieces basically get an IP address and are able to resolve each other or contact each other with their name. And then there's also the whole part about moving that to the new infrastructure host. The thing that I can basically show you here is this is MAS. MAS is short for Metal as a Service. It's a canonical project. Or open source canonical project. And this is what we set up on a virtual machine inside of the lab. These infra hosts here are the new physical servers. And then there's a bunch of virtual machines like the Jenkins worker, like this one, basically where I'm SSH to right now. There's also a netbox. So we moved the netbox from our BISTEN Kubernetes cluster inside of this lab. So this netbox.berlin lab is basically what I have open here. This is where all of the documentation of the cabling and all these things lives right now. This is the ONOS, which we still have here, but at the moment, since we made the decision last time, we want to go in a different direction. It's not really doing anything. We take a look at it if we want to. And these are the Kubernetes nodes that I today started to basically add to this whole thing to ready them up for reprovisioning. There's a bunch of additional things for the DNS. So there is like the Atron OLTs, the aggregation switch, all of the PDUs that we have within the lab. Yeah, and we're adding more and more to the DNS part here while we go through all of the different lab pieces, right? So the milestone here is more about setting up the infrastructure itself. And then the more information is available, everything will be added here. Is there questions to those things or anything that anybody would like me to show?
All this mass, etc., credentials for accessing them, you will be sharing them with Eric, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. So we have a repository internally right now where we document all of these credentials, and there's parts of this in the wiki, but without the username password thing. I'll need to set up a handover thing with Eric at a certain point so that we can discuss exactly how we want to hand over those credentials or what we want to set here. So there's like obviously passwords and stuff right now, but we will probably want to adapt then at a certain point once we start locking in all of the different pieces.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. And then this part is this ONOS controller. There's only part that I can demo here, right? So I can show you that the ONOS virtual machine itself is running and the controller on it is running. But since the switch, as we discussed last time, that was controlled by the ONOS, it's not there anymore. I can't really show you any configuration of this ONOS controller towards the switch. We can, however, probably go here. Okay, this is, what was it? UI. So that's the virtual machine that we saw here, right? This ONOS Berlin thing. I think you all know this password. We never changed it. So this is the device that we added at a certain point. This is this Dell, right? So we, as said before, we can try to control this via the ONOS controller, but what I understood the last time is we don't want to. There is a lot of, there's not much topology really. What can I show? it's not connected right now because we disabled the OpenFlow connection for this specific switch. It was connected, so I mean you can see that the connection itself registered all of the ports, their speeds, and the individual cabling in there. Yeah, I can't show you much more in detail without changing the configuration again in the direction of OpenFlow.
Okay, last time we decided to already remove the ONOS and do the configuration without ONOS and document the configuration. So
yeah.
Then we can access it and change the configuration if we need any configuration.
And in regards to the installation on all these procedures for this ONOS, within the wiki, you will find 2 sections for the aggregation switch now. One of the sections contains the new switch, basically, is dual switch and the VLAN configuration, breakout and stuff. It's not finished yet, obviously, because we're just adding the OLTs and figuring out the VLANs, something that I would love to discuss today. And the other section contains all of the flow tables and the needed configuration to bring up the ONOS. And it also contains a tarball of the Ansible playbook that is needed to set up this virtual machine. So if anybody wants to give this a try, please, and let me know like how this goes. I mean, we tested this internally. The documentation for the Ansible playbook is within the README within this tarball. Yeah, so it should all be there according to the agreed upon criteria here. Any questions for this one? Okay.
So as of now, So as of now, this ONOS is not doing anything because it was supposed to control the switches, and
yes,
we're not controlling the switches as of now with ONOS. We are manually configuring, right?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of useful to keep this part, and that's why we like kind of finish this thing, because if we want to go back into this direction, and I think there might be an interest at a certain point, you can still use the same path, right? So it is all documented. So I think it might be good to like look at the documentation and see if you are missing anything. But as of now, or right now, it's not doing anything because the old aggregation switch, does not do anything anymore. And the new one is currently configured with default, just like plain VLAN configuration as decided by the TST last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Then moving on to the next part here, and this is the aggregation switch. So most of the stuff here I talked, is this still big enough, or is this now getting too small? Can you still read this? I can remove this again because it's not important right now. Is this better?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so this is all in regards to the old thing, which is broken now. The new thing has been installed. We have documentation, which I'll show you in a second, in regards to the OLTs and the VLAN configuration. But we need to decide exactly which OLTs, how they should be configured, and like how the VLANs should be distributed. Can you see this network diagram?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something that Christina drew up, which shows a lot of details. Please don't spend too much time reading through all of the different IP addresses and whatnot. But this is basically showing on the left side here the OLTs. So there is a Redisys OLT that was shipped from Hillsborough. This is what we added to the rack. It's a combo OLT, and this is the one that we put in because we discussed quickly with Björn which of the OLTs from this shipment should be put in first. We can obviously like put in another one if the TST decides another one would be better, but we thought this one might be a good target. There is options for, I think there is 3 edge core OLTs, which are the same models that we just removed. And then there is one GPON Redisys OLT as well. So yeah, that's the one that we just added to the rack. And then the other ones, this is the Atran OLT and this is the Zyxel OLT. I know we discussed that the XLOT shouldn't be part of it. We just did not remove it for now. So I was asked by DT to maybe like leave it in because apparently there's currently discussions about this. So it is still in the rec. We don't have to use it. These are the ONUs that are connected to the individual OLTs. So this is obviously the GPON part more, and this is the mix. So these two are XGS PON, and then this is GPON again. And then these are the Kubernetes nodes with the individual endpoints. So basically the clients at the end behind the ONUs. On the top, you see the aggregation switch. So all the OLTs are connected to the aggregation switch. This is this Dell device, basically, that we just replaced. And then our suggestion would be to start another virtual machine for the BNG side, so with the DHCP server and the iPerf. This was running before on, I think, Node 3. But it might be better to not run it co-located with the Kubernetes stuff because there's no real reason that it needs to be here. So we can as well start it as a virtual machine somewhere else. VLAN configuration would then, I know these numbers are too small, but basically there would be all kinds of VLAN towards the BNG so that it can be used from all the different setups. And then depending on which OLT, the VLAN configuration would obviously be depending on the ONUs and what kind of service tags we want to use here. This is like work in progress. Obviously, this is just the current status of this whole thing. So question to the TST here would be, are you okay with this OLT? Do you want to like, should I send you this and you review it? Or how are we going to make the decision which OLTs, which ONUs should be used here?
On the Radisys one, you had sent me a mail. It said 1600X.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, 1600X is not a combo OLT. Okay, fine. If you can send me the exact model, probably it'll help me. We are building the image for this, so we have, and I'll share you the steps and the image and how to load it. So and then probably we can have a call.
So maybe my language is just wrong here, or my terms are just wrong here. So the because it says GPON XGS PON on the front, and it says RLT 1600X.
Okay, that's an XGS PON.
So but it also says GPON on the front.
Yeah, it can work as GPON and XGS PON, but cannot work as a combo.
Okay, then this word is just wrong. So XGS or GPON.
Yeah.
One of two. Okay, but we could. Okay, yeah.
If you can share this with us, so I also want to check these OLTs and ONUs. It seems okay actually, but it's the letters and numbers are too small. I can't read.
Yeah.
If you can send it somehow, it will be
absolutely, absolutely. I can send it to the TST or a list of interested people. I don't know how we want to distribute it. I mean, obviously, it includes a lot of like serial numbers and IP addresses, but all of those are as well available in the public open source testing code. So there is nothing secret here. Yeah, I can export it as PDF and then send it. There's one big question, which I think we should also answer at a certain point. This part about how are the OLTs supposed to be managed? Because as far as I understand, there's like two different ways of like either doing that in band or out of band. For in-band, I think we saw like on the OpenFlow things, we saw some like additional flows for VLAN 4093 or 4090. Is this part of the setup at the moment, or because I think those would be the VLANs for in-band management, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's better to go out of band, have a management separate, and then have the data path separate, because managing with only in-band, it will be a bit difficult because the DHCPs should happen and or we should have a statically configured, which will be difficult. I think so better to go with management along with them.
And the pipeline so far, we're always using out-of-band management, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay,
so
then
I think
the
so
flows.
To go with out-of-band.
Yeah, we can just stick with that. And then we were just wondering because, like, while backing up a lot of the configuration, we saw those VLANs, and we were wondering if there is any test that uses this specifically. But that's okay. So then we'll just remove this part, and then the VOLTHA stack will basically use the management connection, which is not shown here, towards the OLTs to manage those. Cool. Okay. Let me go back to this one. So this is basically this VLAN configuration. There's also milestone 1.4. So this is obviously something that is kind of dependent on the exact decision, how and which OLTs. Once we have nailed this down, so ideally you could take a look at the drawing and like give me some feedback if this is what you want. Once this is nailed down, we can finish this by basically applying the right VLAN configuration, verifying that all of the VLANs are properly routed through the or forwarded through the switch. And then that would be, I think, finishing more or less this milestone. This milestone is exactly this discussion that will be based on what we're discussing right now, right? So there is the Radisys OLT that we added. This is this model again here, 1300X. The lights are blinking of this OLT while we connected it, but we can't really see anything on the management or on this craft interface, which is also something I never heard before, but apparently it's some kind of management interface for the thing. If anybody could help me here, that would be great.
Yeah, that's a console.
Okay. I attached it to a console server. I couldn't see anything with all the different settings that I tried. So if you have any kind of manual or like general setup instructions for this thing, because I would at least like to verify that it's not broken, right? Because I think it has been like shipped over the ocean and standing in a cellar for over a year now. So it might be good to like before investing too much time to this thing, it might be good to verify that it actually does anything.
Sure. I'll share.
So yeah, so if you send me anything, it would be good. So this is the part that Abulash already said. There is an image currently being built for the OLT, and once this is ready, we can try to set it up, install it. I had an email exchange with Atran, so they are happy to support us with like upgrading all of these things and getting everything back into state. We have scheduled a meeting for the 12th of November, so it's yeah, more or less 2 weeks from now. It's a bit because of PTOs in between, but at this date we'll probably should probably be able to take a look together at this OLT and what needs to be done to get it up and running. The edge core OLTs have been removed as discussed last time, so they're not in the rack anymore. They're like on a in a shelf basically beside the rack. The Zyxel OLT has been left in the rack following a request from DT. So I'm fine to remove it, but I don't want to like remove it and then put it back later because that would be a bit unnecessary, I guess. And the cables for the ONUs and OLTs have been cleaned up a bit because we needed space to add the new OLT, which also has external PDUs to it. So just to show you a bit of like before and after. So this is the setup of some of the ONUs before. This is how it looked after we cleaned up a lot of the cabling. This is another part of like more ONUs and like I don't know what kind of things is after. So it's the same things basically. Obviously, the right part does not yet contain the cables for the fiber part. We'll be adding the fiber part as soon as we agree how exactly this whole thing should work, right? So once that is done, we can add the fibers here, splitters and attenuators, and then everything should be ready to be worked on for the pipelines. Any questions? Okay. I don't have a lot more to present today. I mean, there's a lot of work going on in parallel in terms of, for example, getting this Kubernetes cluster up and running again, getting some monitoring and all these things. But that's not directly related to any of the milestones presented here. It's more in preparation for the later work packages that we can discuss as soon as those are, as the other decisions here have been made. So that will be everything from my side for now. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask me. Did I drop my connection?
No, you're there. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we'll continue from where we left off. So yeah, this anyway, Jan has shared all the status. Next, the document is there, which Mahmoud has shared. And next is on the test suite. So I had taken up to check these both test suites, multiple OLTs and OpenONU Go test bivset. So I have found the problem, but I was just wondering, how do I trigger this job on a private build? Inputs here. I haven't done this previously. So any inputs here on how I can trigger this in our Jenkins?
Do you have access to Jenkins?
Yes, I have. This was the one. Yeah, so I'll have to start here.
Yes.
Build, okay.
You want to run this with a specific version of OpenONU Go?
Specific version of
I mean,
yes,
specific.
anything. Yeah, like maybe ONU or also maybe Volta system test.
Oh, I don't know if we have that much of parameters.
I think so.
but,
This one, right? The program.
I'm not sure about that. The branch here may affect all of the, repos. I'm not sure. The Volta system test, if you have a patch, you can put the patch to the patch reference ID to the Volta system test parameter below.
Okay.
If you go down, scroll down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
Volta.
Sorry. Go
Yeah, there is a system test, reference parameter down, but
Okay.
I'm not sure how. If you go down, scroll down, down a bit more. Yeah, Volta system test change, you see. If you have a batch waiting for Volta system test, then you can put the reference ID of this, patch to here, then it uses this patch. But for Volta OpenONU Go, I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just figure this out how to do it. Probably it's here somewhere. No, these are all the. Okay, let me figure it out.
Yeah, you probably need to, prepare a version of Volta OpenONU Go and add it as a external parameter.
Yes.
As the parameter on the top, you can add
Yes.
help parameters, extra help parameters there. Yeah, extra hand parameters. There's a
Yes.
master onos image tag. If you have a tagged version of OpenONUGO, you can put it here with OpenONUGO image tag.
Right. I think so. I'll have to push it to the Docker Hub as well before doing that manually, because the private versions anyway will not be pushed. Okay, I got it. Thanks, Mike. I'll figure it out. This much should be enough.
I think what you need to do, Abhilash, is uploading the OpenONU adapter Go to Docker Hub, to your private Docker Hub, by the way. And then you can have a VOLTHA Helm chart change so that you can include your repository in the VOLTHA Helm chart so that it can be tested against your OpenONU adapter Go.
Yeah, got it. Okay, we'll test it out. Most probably the changes here are in the VOLTHA system test. There was a test case which was validating the OMCI stats from BibSim. I don't know why. Probably that is causing problem. I'll check that. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, the other one is also something similar. We'll have to check. I'll just do a few runs and see if it works. And so this the patches for memory reduction, I'll just share it in a bit. I'll update the PPT. And for the reconcile changes, there is already a patch which I've shared here. Please go through and let me know. Share your comments on the patch. Okay. By the way, any questions on the memory reduction or the reconcile process, which we had presentation last time? Okay. Most probably we'll wait for the review comments if at all. Okay, and there's one more. We've raised a ticket for the looks like the VOLTHA system tests build pipeline is failing. So whenever any changes is being pushed, the pipeline don't run. There is some problem with the VOLTHA system tests, just like we had for the other ones. Something's failing. We'll have to figure out. Probably Eric would be the best. Eric is not there for today. Okay, I don't see Eric. Probably I'll ping him offline and check with them. That's on the VOLTHA system tests, and I have one patch which was raised for offloading the PPPO EIA and DHCP array applications onto the VOLT. So Mahir Sarkan, you got a chance because we plan to merge this soon anyway. Let me know if you have any comments on this. You got a chance to review?
I'll check it today.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
So it's a design change, Abhilash, right?
No, actually, it's just a proto change to offload the applications to the VOLT.
Okay,
So,
this is necessary to run the disaggregate applications onto the VOLT, right?
yes. But here we'll not be doing any changes related to the OpenVOLT adapter and OpenVOLT agent itself. Because this will go against the open nature of the white box or the white box VOLTs, right? Because we are offloading apps on the VOLTs, which will break that openness. So hence this is for mostly the vendors who plan to or at least for the DT use case, we plan to offload a few apps which vendors have agreed to take them up and implement in their VOLTs. So this is for the protos for that. and the vendors will take care of implementing in their adapters. For OpenVLT, we are not supporting. It's just the interfaces will be there.
Okay, I see. I'll also take a look at it.
Okay, thanks. Yep, that's all I had. Any other things to be discussed in open items?
To which list would I send this diagram of the OLT ONU aggregation switch cabling?
You can send to me, Abhilash, Serkant, Pranit.
Yeah, I need to write that down. Give me a second. So
TST
is there a list? No, I'll one by one, right? So I have my here. I have Abhilash. Who else?
Serkant,
you said. I have that too, yeah.
Pranit, and Burak.
Okay, I need to see that is Burak Gudra? No.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have that.
Yeah, and I can share with the TST members, okay?
Okay, I sent it to you and you forward it to
Yes.
all involved parties. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very well. If nothing else, then we can close for today. Okay, all right. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.